Mike Lubitz with me, and we have the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, joined us every Friday on our Degenerate Friday program. I would imagine you've been at a lot of these coaches' press conferences where they come in to take over a job. The last time I saw this kind of enthusiasm, I don't know if you saw any of the clips, Mike, of this Mike McIntyre. He takes over at FIU, a team that won one game last year. The last time I saw this much enthusiasm, I had accidentally tuned into an episode where they had an Up With People concert on TV. I used to read the headlines in the racing forum. It was always great because the headlines were so archaic. I mean, they were just paying token homage to the idea that kind of like some of the public service announcements that you hear various radio stations play. I mean, they're obligated to do it by FCC regulations that were written when the Magna Carta came out. Do you really feel in your heart of hearts, having been in radio as long as you were, that the general philosophy of the radio station, go ahead and honor a commitment to do things that were beneficial to the local community? No. All they wanted to know, hey, is Zimmerman going to spill the beans on that account for the casino?
That's all I cared about. The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
On a beautiful Thursday here in South Florida. Good morning, everybody. I'm Jeff Deforrest, along with one Mike Lubitz, and we welcome you to the Defo Show. And today we will also feature a portion of the program dedicated to the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, and we always like to pay homage to the people at Hialeah Park, most loyal people that you could find. I mean, over 40 years that I've been here in South Florida, and I believe I've been honored with 40 years of support, overwhelming support for just about any media project I was involved in by the people at Hialeah Park. Dave Gergel's going to be with us. The Polyman also a late scratch on the program. Polyman dealing with some issues that aren't overwhelmingly serious and easily going to be overcome, but nonetheless having to go through various processes. He's almost like the Philadelphia 76ers, man.
I was going to say, what is this, Philly?
Yeah, I got to respect the process, man.
Process was actually made about him, not the Sixers.
How do you sell that process concept to the most cynical fans in all of sports? And they buy into it, too. I guess anytime you see Joel Embiid out there, you're thinking there's a shot that this guy could do something spectacular and maybe carry a team. Their record isn't that bad, considering that Embiid has missed a lot of time. And that Ben Simmons is the missing link at this point. Whatever happened with Ben Simmons? Where is he? Does he sit on the Philadelphia bench? I mean, is he involved in basketball at any level whatsoever? Is he playing some G League ball just to stay in shape? They never did trade the guy, and there's no talk about what's happening with Ben Simmons at this point. I haven't seen enough Philadelphia 76er basketball to recognize. I would assume that he's a non-factor, right? Persona non grata?
Play. Yeah,
right? Knocks on the door. No, don't let him in, even if he has the password. They're somewhere just slightly above 500 so far. I tell you what's remarkable, and I was amazed. I was in and out of the Miami Heat game last night as I got home about 10 o'clock, went to a place in Boca Raton called Crazy Uncle Mike's. See, one of my favorite young performers. This kid plays with a group called Memphis Lightning, and I guess he goes by Lightning, like 22, 23 years old, Lubie. Slays it on the guitar and really does just a great stage show. So I was up there last night. I get home and I realized, wow, the Heat are still on the road because my buddy Mike works all of the Bally Sports Sun telecasts. He's like the main technical guy. I mean, in charge of virtually everything. And he's the guy that helped me set up this whole new look that we have on the show, which is being warmly embraced. I'm seeing some favorable comments on the chat line there. Andy seems to like it a lot. People have told me, hey, this thing is looking good, this whole new studio. I don't know. Do you think Tony was serious about that or he was just being gratuitous?
No, you look good.
Yeah?
I can't wait till I get my studio set up. I'm like jealous. You look like real deal.
Yeah, no, it's only going to get better. We're going to add in a few pieces, maybe even as early as today. So that could be a heck of a lot of fun. Well, we want to go right to the top here. I mean, if you're going to associate and line up with Jack Namer, Amy, and Brad and the people at Ion Channel, do you want to just lollygag there somewhere in sub-mediocrity and take a look? Yeah, we had 57 views today. No. You want to skyrocket right to the top, and that's what we intend to do. So we'll do part of that courtesy of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge today. Also, I ran into an old friend of ours from our radio days, the Greek, last night.
Greek man. Nice.
preordained meeting with the Greek. He wasn't exactly aware of what we were doing, but nonetheless, he's going to be a part of it later on today. Because
Nice.
I was telling him that he and his skills are ideally suited for what it is, the direction that we eventually want to go in with all of our video and audio streaming, and that is to go ahead and take advantage of the fact that it is a degenerate world, people.
Exactly.
Largely a degenerate world, and who better to explore those worlds and all of those various avenues and themes than us? We've been in every situation possible, right? Every losing situation possible. You grow from losing. Failure is a stepping stone to success, right? Stepping stone to success. Did I say that right?
You don't learn from winning, you learn from losing. That's the old saying and the old thought.
It's a lot easier to learn from winning, I would have to say.
It's hard to learn from winning. When you're winning, you don't think about changing anything. It's when you're losing that makes you think about recalibrating.
Yeah, like Kyle Shanahan was winning, and what did he learn?
How to
You're a
lose.
loser. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, speaking of losers, I don't know. This guy's not a loser. Obviously, he's been very successful. He's had many of the hottest babes. I mean, can I say this, Lubie? I mean, women that are commonly masturbated to have all been with A-Rod, have they not? You know, like tell me you hadn't taken a. Well, you're not. Cameron Diaz isn't your type.
Wow.
See that blonde, colored eye, female. Has destroyed me my entire life. So, and you're seeing he's been with like a zillion of them, right? Kate Hudson, Jennifer Lopez, the last one before Affleck got in there and stole her away. And does he care? He just shrugs these things off like it's nothing, right? Got a $600 million yacht, made at least $500 million as a ball player just from his last two contracts. He got like 240 and 250, didn't he?
Yeah,
he got paid, what? $25 million at a time where that was an exorbitant amount of money in Major League Baseball. Now you could hit 225 with 17 homers and 49 runs batted in and be a lousy fielder with a sub 900 fielding percentage. And you know what? They gave him $25 million, the Phillies. And that eclipsed the offer just by a couple of dollars that was on the table from 7 other teams. You're like, what? What is the value at this point of a baseball contract? So $250 for A-Rod for 10 years was probably bargain basement stuff. But nonetheless, he's made a lot of money, very successful. And then, even though he should be the scourge of Major League Baseball, like the last guy that MLB should ever want representing them, this is a guy that was suspended for a year, probably should have been suspended forever. Because according to our good buddy Ed Kaplan, who actually observed him when he was at Westminster Academy, I believe it is, in South Dade. Is that in South Dade?
Well, there's
County,
two. One in
Florida?
Broward and one in Dade, and he was at the Dade one. Yes.
He was at the Dade one, right? And my friend Eddie Kenya is like a baseball purist, and that's his go-to sport. Ed Kaplan was a longtime broadcaster here in South Florida and was famous for doing degenerate shows that stayed on the air until the last West Coast score was in, which was an uncommon get. If you go back to when Eddie was on the air, which I mean, I heard some people in my head saying Stone Age. But this predated the time where you could wake up at 3 a.m, click on your cell phone, and go, "Oh, look at that! The Mets lost to San Francisco," and then go back to bed.
Yeah.
So people waited in anticipation to hear these last West Coast scores. They weren't common to find, and Ed stayed on the air and yacked with people about various things, anything, when people would call in about all kinds of strange stuff, the usual stuff that you got in overnight radio at that time, which was a lot of drunks and wackos. People that were incarcerated. I can't talk too loud. It was that sort of thing. And he loved baseball, and that was his go-to sport for betting. And he studied it at all levels and was so interested in it that he went to see a couple of high school games because everybody had heard about Alex Rodriguez, and he was being recruited by the University of Miami, and he was likely to be a number 1 overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft out of high school. I don't know. Did he go number 1 out of high school? I guess he did, right? To Seattle?
I think he did.
Wasn't he the number 1 overall pick in a Major League Baseball draft? And, and that was one of the criticisms at the time of the University of Miami. They had changed coaches. Ron Frazier had retired, and they had a guy named Brad, and his last name escapes me. It was like a simple one, of course, so I can't remember it. And he tried to recruit, I guess, A-Rod, and people were saying, well, geez, you know what? You can't go after that type of guy and spend all of your recruiting resources trying to get a guy that's never going to play for your team.
Yeah.
Although, with Alex Fernandez, he did play for the University of Miami for what? He just go there for 1 year? I believe he did. Because there was a crazy NCAA restrictive, punitive to the player rule that if you signed up to play.
Or you have to be there 3 years.
Right.
Or 2 years. I think it's 2 years, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Did Alex Fernandez start out at a JUCO somewhere here? Did he play for like Miami-Dade High? Community college or something?
Sort of.
May have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, those stories sort of irrelevant as tangents to the whole A-Rod thing.
The first overall pick in the 1993 draft. I had to figure that one out.
Yeah, and Eddie K was saying in high school when Westminster got off the bus, everybody looked like Schwarzenegger, right? Like they were on their way. You didn't know if they were going to a baseball game or the Mr. Olympia competition. Oh, there's Colombo. If he wasn't so short, he might win one of these. Remember that guy? I forget his first name, Colombo. And he was the guy that always ran second, a distant second to Schwarzenegger in all of those contests. Colombo, you couldn't find him today with a search warrant, and Schwarzenegger became the governor of California. Go figure. Right? Winning and losing, does it make a little bit of a difference, Lubie? You say you learn more from losing? Yeah, you learn that you're flat out of luck. You're a loser, right? That's it. You're labeled as a loser, and nobody's ever going to talk about you again. Franco Colombo. Coming from Andy's on top of his game today. What's up with Andy, man? I hope he's feeling better.
I guess so. Good for him.
He was sniffling and sneezing. He had an ice pack on his head there. Now he's okay, which is good. But anyway, what's the fascination with A-Rod as an announcer? I honestly, it's not uncommon for guys in this business to be overly critical of other people that are in the business, regardless of what they say publicly, right? Like, oh, yeah, that guy was great. Now, I have many announcers who I have great admiration for, many, many announcers. I mean, been very enjoyable. It's kind of been the soundtrack of my life, right? Sports casting and sports announcers. And then being in this business as long as I have, this is very much in your head. And you can hear play-by-play calls. And, when I was growing up, it was all on the radio. And there were great, great voices in New York, including, not talked about often enough among the all-time best of the best, the great Mel Allen, right? Who was known more for his narration on This Week in Baseball than he was for, there's a high fly ball by the Mick, and that one is out of here, and that'll do it for baseball and Valentine. No, he was brilliant, man. He was a soundtrack of my youth, Mel Allen, great announcer. So, they're just tremendous. And Chick Hearn was a great announcer and a real good guy on top of that.
Yes.
The great Chick Hearn, yo-yoing up and down, and looks like he came out of the popcorn machine all covered in butter and salt. Came up with a lot of original stuff then that may sound kind of corny today, but nonetheless, at the time, it was part of the pulse of what sports broadcasting was all about. And these guys were making it happen. Now, A-Rod, I haven't heard him say one interesting thing ever. In fact, he's kind of gotten Joe Morgan off the hook, who was another, just a heavy target of my man Eddie K. It was, very, this guy was very discriminating in terms of his opinion and wasn't afraid to tell you what he felt was the absolute truth and went kind of, opposite, a little bit, controversial in terms of the theories that he had that he believed in that later turned out to be true.
It is funny because George Morgan's one of those that was widely accepted as being great, and he seemed nice. He knew baseball. He was a legend.
Everybody liked Joe Morgan.
I would always watch him and get bored out of my mind because
it was worse. He said stupid things. I don't remember specifics, but I thought he was okay because he was Joe Morgan, right? I wasn't really paying that close of an attention to the analysis of the dirt behind home plate like he was Tim McCarver, who was brilliant at what he did. Tim McCarver. Maybe a little anal retentive in some of the detail that he would give you, but Tim McCarver knew the game and was an excellent analyst and was good at explaining it to you. And Andy actually had a theory that I subscribed to. Our good friend Andy, who's involved on the chat line here, and that was, you know everything that you need to know about a sport by like the time you're 5 years old. So, do you really need somebody to explain this to you? Do you need Louis Riddick, explaining it? And very, sophisticated, but yet nonsensical terms. When, you've seen this, you know exactly what happened there on these plays, right? The fat guy missed a block and the quarterback got crushed. That's it. That's all you got to say. I mean, you don't have to go through, well, you know what, the A gap there, and, his vertical integrity was challenged. And then look at that. The angle with which he came in his knees. And the guy's got a protractor out, and he's giving you, like, what the measurements were on the angle of the tackle. You don't need all that. You pretty much can see what's happening. So what do you want from a color analyst, especially on a baseball game where there's a lot of time to fill? You want interesting things, maybe about the players. Certainly A-Rod would be adept at analyzing situations, you would think, but he was sort of despised even by his own fans, was he not? A-Rod? What do people point out about A-Rod? His 600-plus home runs? No, they don't remember a single one of them. What they remember is when he tried to swat the ball out of the guy's glove when he ran like a pussy down the first base there. And
the Red Sox in the playoffs.
That should not be your signature moment, unless your own fans hate you.
Exactly.
All right. So what is the fascination with him as an announcer? I'm waiting for him to say something, and I go, wow, that was interesting. And he's coming up with bozoic stuff, like I said, that gets Morgan off the hook for being one of the biggest fools in a baseball analyst's role that ever existed. And they persisted in throwing Morgan out there for like 20 years. So how long are they going to stuff A-Rod in our face? Where he tells you that you're better off having an even number lead than an odd number lead of runs.
I don't know what that means. But have you heard the latest thing?
So if you're up like 13-1,
it's worse than
you would be better off if it was 2-1. By what system of mathematics? I mean, from what country is he getting this kind of mathematical logic? What world? And unfortunately, because he's A-Rod, whoever, he was going to carry his own guy in there. I guess he had this Veskursin who stepped down now. You think that was voluntary? Who steps out of the Sunday night baseball booth? It's a one game like that people might tune into around the country if they weren't just watching their local team, right? There's no national game anymore where you go, oh, I can't wait to see the Reds take on the Pirates today.
On baseball.
No. So the Sunday night game, they usually get some kind of a decent matchup there. It often involves the marquee teams, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets may be in that category this year, but whomever. I mean, they usually have decent games lined up on those Sunday night games, right? They flex the schedule, and they pick and choose, and they say, this is what we want, Yankees, Red Sox. All right, you're going to tune into that if you're a baseball fan, are you not? For a little snippet. So first, the only thing that saved A-Rod from, total and utter unequivocal embarrassment, what was that? Jessica Mendoza was in the booth with him. And she was babbling away about, you see the way he's got the tape on the bat handle there. I tell you, with this minutia about hitting that, who gives a flying one, right? You're screaming at the screen, Jessica, who gives a fuck? I mean, every foul ball I analyzed, as if there was something scientific behind the fact that the guy barely got a bat on the ball because the pitcher's thrown it at 102 miles an hour, and that his thumbs are probably ringing from here to eternity because he barely was able to get even a splinter of wood on the ball, and it squirted off into the dugout there. I don't know. How much analysis do you need? But anyway, so she kind of maybe hid the flaws a little bit of A-Rod, but he is vapid in terms of giving you anything of any particular interest. And now the fascination with this guy, so I'm assuming that they realize that we got to get him out of the booth, right? People are, coming to despise the broadcast. And now they're going to put him in like the Peyton Eli Manning role, supposedly, and have him doing his own running commentary on a separate ESPN network.
That involves more personality, more charisma, and more talking. The three things he didn't show at all in any of his broadcasting.
I hope he has good guests. I mean, that's part of the fun of that Peyton Eli Manning thing is, having him all of a sudden have, anywhere from LeBron James to Jim Carrey, talking about the ball game. So, that's caught the fascination of a lot of people. And also it takes you away from what has been just an absolutely boring broadcast. I think Steve Levy's hanging in there doing okay.
He's fine.
Louis Riddick seems very intelligent about, his football conversations. I mean, they have an element of intellect to him. Probably would be a great front office guy. The incessant yapping is a little too much for me.
Yep, that's his problem.
And Brian Greasy, talk about vapid. Wow. What is he doing there?
Getting paid.
Executives look at this stuff. I mean, like, look, we're in the game, right? Jack's probably looking at this right now going, what are those clowns talking about? And who said pussy? I think he wanted me to spark it up a little bit. I mean, no offense by any of these people, by the way. You know what our nature is. We just like to, all we want to do is have some fun until the sun comes up on Santa Monica Boulevard. All right, we're going to attempt to do a little trivia challenge here. It's the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, normally on Thursday. We're getting Dave Gurgles Gurgly ready to go in the bullpen there. We're also getting that same hideous echo that we had to deal with last week when we attempted to do the same thing. So we'll try to correct that. And Gurgles is looking good. Lubie looking good. And we'll put the number up and we'll play the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, or at least attempt to in a few minutes here on On Channel and the Defo Show. In the meantime, let me tell you about Hialeah Park and what's going on at Hialeah Park. I don't know, Gurgles, if you could cool those speakers there, that would help an awful lot.
You should be listening through the headphones. Like, I don't get why the headphones don't cancel out the speakers.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but very disturbing here. But nonetheless, Hialeah Park, a beautiful place to go. Always a good time. I saw another jackpot taken down. One of the slot machines, somebody walked away with about 7 dimes, courtesy of Hialeah Park and the casino action there, which has been brilliant and vibrant and just electrifying. And you're going to have a blast in the Hialeah Park Casino. It's got a good vibe in there, too, man. The Royal Reels are rolling, and everybody's having a good time. And then you always have great entertainment on tap, including January 28th, HialeahPark.com is where you get your tickets for the boxing. Going to be a sensational card. They always do a great job with the boxing there. It's a tremendous venue and just real nice. I mean, if we get the right kind of conditions there and it's a nice, cool South Florida evening, and you're watching these guys live, Lubie can tell you and testify to the fact that going to a live match, if you've never been, a totally different experience than all the boxing that you may have watched over the years on TV. Hey, you think Hagler Hearns was the best fight ever, Defo? I'll hang up and listen. Might have been. I mean, who could dispute that, right? 3 rounds of just pure, unadulterated bomb-throwing mayhem. And that's what you're going to get at Hialeah Park on the 28th of January. Get your tickets right now. We'll see you out there ringside. Maybe we can do, I don't know. Can we get introduced in the ring like we were like Vito Antuofermo in attendance there?
That'd be wonderful.
Going to have to work on that with Frank Fiore, right? Want to introduce some dignitaries here in attendance here tonight. Johnny Eddie used to do that. And he kept it very simple. Heavyweight champion Joe Louis, right? And then Joe would wave to the crowd there and walk around the ring, and he would shake the hands of each fighter. And it was always great, right? So maybe we can get one of those testimonials there. But short of that, it wouldn't matter because we're going to have a great time, and you will too. Boxing, January 28th, Hialeah Park. Check it out for yourself. Get your tickets online. Or you can probably line up and get what remaining tickets might be available there at the box office. But don't get shut out. I mean, just like you run into the windows with a sure thing, don't get shut out. Check out the boxing at Hialeah Park on January 28th. All right, I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz. The Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge gets underway here in just a moment. We're hoping we can work out that one technical issue there because it is a little prohibitive.
I think we just off the speaker. Is it an extra speaker that can be turned off? That is my request. Turn it off. Not even that.
All right. We'll come back with more. And Dave Gurgles Gurgly will join us here on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge on the Defo Show in a moment. Now that. Time. That's what I was hearing. It's 7:22.
Gambling Gourmet for Cafe Seville in Fort Lauderdale. One of my favorite places. It is old school joint that's serving Spanish, classic continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly setting. It's at 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. They're open every day except Sunday for dinner, starting at 5 p.m. You go in there, you see Joey and his better half Sally. They are giving the greatest in service. And the food, oh my gosh, it's paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, stuffed veal chop. They serve this great, fantastic, warm sourdough bread. Go to Cafe Seville in Fort Lauderdale and tell them that the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time. When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not. Because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. all at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse. Since day one of Old School, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen.
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante, the Belmont's now 1 mile and an 8. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici just switch the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
All right, hopefully we figured out how to shut those things
We
down
haven't.
there.
So I think what we're gonna have to do is get Gurgles on the phone because
Yes.
it's not gonna work. And I love Gurgles with all my heart, but it sounds, as they say, like ass. So
You love that saying. I was thinking about that.
it
Is that a
sounds
saying that I really want to
sounds
use?
garbage, sounds bad, sounds unprofessional. Sounds
You always
immature,
say that, though, and they're playing like ass. I don't know. It's kind of, it's an ugly image for me.
grungy, whatever term you want to use. It doesn't
Yeah.
sound like the standard we're trying to keep here on the Defo Show.
We have very lofty standards. Although,
man.
you know, the real key to happiness, honestly, is I was discussing with the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, yesterday, lower your standards. That was the best piece of advice I ever gave to my son, Jesse. Dropped him off at the University of Central Florida, freshman year. You don't want your parents hanging around, do you? At least, you know, as much as I love my parents, like the minute that the car hit the curb there, I was out there and running into the Marion dormitory at Syracuse University. I'm no mama's boy. Right? It's like you're checking into prison. It turned out to be a very liberating experience, I can assure you, all the way around. But I said to my son as I was dropping him off there at UCF, okay, I'm going to take off right away, Jess, and do yourself a favor. If you're going to spend 4 or 5 years here, lower your standards. That was the key, and it absolutely worked. So we're going to attempt to get Dave Gurgles Gurgley on the phone. That's going to be interesting because it'll make it a little bit prohibitive for people to call in on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. So we're going to get that together for you here and attempt to give you some bona fide and very challenging trivia offerings, as Dave Gurgles Gurgley and the Polyman always do on this program. And I think eventually, with the video streaming and we'll get the whole thing together, going to be a big hit. People love quiz shows. Look at this lady that's won like 23, 4 times in a row now on Jeopardy. I mean, she's like the guy from Vegas that just would squint into the screen there and get every answer right. She said she had a 1,600 perfect score on the Scholastic Aptitude Test. Impossible, right? Who has a 1,600 on the SATs? So no wonder she knows everything. How do you automatically know everything? It's always interesting to find people like that. I don't even think this woman does any voluminous amount of reading or attempts that. All right, you think it's working here, Mike Lubitz? What do you say? Do we give it a shot here with Dave Gurgles Gurgley? Can we introduce Dave Gurgles Gurgley to the program? David, how are you, my friend?
Fine, I'm on the phone. I've lost visual of you now, but. I don't know how that works. That's because I'm on the phone, obviously. All right. But yeah, I'm on the phone here from the newly named Miami Lakes Golf Club.
Nice.
Yeah, no, what's the deal there? I guess, the place was bought out by a new entity or something, and Don Shula's name is no longer on it?
No, the Graham companies have always owned the golf course, the hotel, the steakhouse. Coach Shula was an equity partner in name. And what happened is, as the coach passed, I think the family just changed their ideas on naming rights and things like that. So we reverted back to the original name when I started here in 1982, Miami Lakes. It was the Miami Lakes Inn Athletic Club and Golf Club, when you used to come and play tennis with Ed Kaplan and me and the guy from the dog track. What was his name? Kenny something?
Marty Fleischman used to be out there a little bit also. Yeah. And there was the guy from Miami Highlight too. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. And now is Gurgle's Grill the new name of Shula Steak too, or is that out of business?
No, it's still the bullpen. And unfortunately, I don't know if the viewers can see me because I'm not on, but I have a little sign back here with the Perdomo Cigar of the Year, the 10th anniversary Maduro. And I just picked up a little poster for that. I had it up when we were on screen. Now I guess by phone they can't see me. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. You actually, where you would normally appear on the screen, there is the bottom part of a pillar highlighting a stairway into the casino at Hialeah Park. Yes.
All right. Well, that's unfortunate. I'll have to get my IT guy out here, and I don't know how we'll work it. They're not here at 7 o'clock in the morning. But I plugged in the headphones. They didn't work. So, and last week, for some reason, it changed during the show. Remember? Or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time you came on from this location that you're at there at the new Miami Lakes Golf Club and Country Club, the first time it was great, and then ever since then it's been downhill. So it's still interesting, and I will attempt to play the game. Also, Lubie, are we going to be able to have the participants? No, okay.
I mean, he can get some questions out there, and then when we get him off air, we can have callers, but we can't have to answer a call. I'd have to drop it.
Oh, okay. All right. Wow. Well, that would not be necessarily advantageous to the flow of the show. Gurgles, I know, were you involved? I mean, did anybody stay at the hotel there? Any of the teams involved in the Orange Bowl, or how did that work for you guys?
No, we had a lot of fans, a lot of Michigan fans out playing golf as well. I think that probably was the highlight of their trip. As far as golf goes. One thing I did want to mention, and our mutual friend, I had a nice conversation with her, as you call her, the lovely and talented one, Leslie Visser, on the passing of the great Sam Jones. I heard about it, oddly enough, at a parimutuel plant, and I was devastated. And then Leslie called me about 30 minutes later and talked to me, because we had just made plans. He was up in Boca recovering for whatever ailed him, and we had just made plans to go up and join him for lunch one day. And then we heard about his passing. Saddened all of us.
Oh, no doubt about it. Real great guy. And what was it, 2 years ago that we had him as a special guest there? Was it that far back? At Shula's?
We had COVID. It might have been 3 years ago, because we had COVID 2 years ago and didn't have the tournament. But and everybody was there. Even Lenny, the Chronic, emailed that he was there in the audience stealing breakfast from us. And he said, "What a great person Sam was."
Oh, it's fantastic, and a lot of people caught that interview, and said, "Wow, that's amazing how coherent this guy is." I mean, that's the thing. I guess if you're going to go, and roll that final seven, you want to go, with your so-called faculties somewhat in place. I mean, if you can go out the door that way, it certainly helps. Although, his passing, obviously. Affecting and impacting a lot of people whose lives that he had touched. And, the bank shot, a thing of the past, my friend, a complete thing of the past, just buried.
I actually, under my desk here, have an autographed Sam Jones basketball, and I've been saving it for a buddy of mine up in Pennsylvania named Jim Boros, who played on the PGA Tour, but was also an all-state basketball player, and Sam was his favorite player. And Jim Boros patterned, as a lot of kids did growing up, the bank shot off of Sam Jones. And Sam just was unbelievable. When you couldn't make the one NBA cruise and you were nice enough to get me involved, I watched Sam Jones and Bailey Howell teach kids from 8 to 13 how to play defense, of all things, on the Norwegian cruise line.
Bailey Howell, one of my all-time favorite garbage men under the basket there. Very, very tough. And the high-top Converse All-Stars, black, were, of course, a legendary part of many of a Celtic uniform. And he was great. Sam wore the low cuts and very clutch, underrated as a clutch basketball player. Well, when you talk about clutch guys like the great Jerry West, I mean, Sam Jones made a lot of shots in what would be considered pressure points in ball games.
Yeah, Bill Russell, as a matter of fact, he was nicknamed Mr. Clutch, as was Jerry West. And Bill Russell, I think, had a quote that said, at the end of the game, if the ball was in Sam's hands, I never even worried. And Bill Russell, I think, with 11 championships, Sam with 10. And then Sam went on to coach a little bit, I think, as an assistant with New Orleans, as a matter of fact, in the NBA.
Yeah, it's interesting, too. Yeah, you mentioned Leslie Visser, and she sent me a text. I didn't get a chance to catch this yet, but I'm sure it's fascinating. And she wasn't even sure how this was going to go, but on the podcast that she does, she interviewed the chief yesterday, Robert Parrish.
Nice.
Part of and this gets into some trivia also. I mean, we know that Joe Barry Carroll was sent packing by the Boston Celtics, and the return was the chief, Robert Parrish, who obviously was a huge dynamic in a lot of championship caliber teams and teams that won titles, and the rights to Kevin McHale for Joe Barry Carroll. Was there another player from the Celtics involved in that deal? That would be the question, and I think I want to say no. To that it was Joe Barry Carroll for McHale and the chief, if you can imagine.
Yeah, I think you're exactly correct. Yeah, but growing up as a kid, my favorite trade that I remember, I was a 76ers fan, was when Wilt Chamberlain went out to L.A. for Darryl Imhoff and Archie Shake and Bake Clark, I believe.
Wow. I guess, you looked at that. Well, it was an aging Wilt Chamberlain at that point, and but he was a key role player for the Lakers. No, did you say you said Wilt?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as a matter of fact.
That's so great.
And speaking of aging, I was looking at some of the athletes that we lost this past year. Maybe it's because I'm getting older myself, but I look at the athletes we've lost this past year, and among them, Elgin Baylor.
Yes, number 32.
Rod Gilbert from the Rangers. Of course, Sam, Don Sutton. We lost so many athletes. One of the Unsers in auto racing. It's been a tough year for that, definitely.
A lot of coaches also. Although at one time, and see, the kind of twisted logic of the Deadpool that I'm in is that you often draw names of people that you never want to see pass away. Not that I want to see anybody die, but I mean, at least, you weren't, big fans of certain people that you might draw. So this time, Terry Bradshaw looks pretty good, doesn't he? Terry Bradshaw?
Seemed to be in good shape.
Yeah, he's not checking out anytime soon. So my only shot is Ozzy Osbourne, but I believe that Ozzy Osbourne is like completely cleaned up his act and now is eating alfalfa sprouts in the morning, that are squished into a blender, and is like the epitome of health. In fact, he looks better than Tom Brady at this point.
Well,
so that was a tough draw. But I did have Madden at one time, and I did have Betty White at one time. And you're thinking I don't want to win this time around.
Yeah. You can't pass both the Deadpool.
No, and the thing is now I have enough money invested in it. I've been in it for like a little over a year, so there's a few bucks involved in this thing. I almost have to hope that you see Terry missing on the set next week.
No. No.
Well, I
or find out that Osborne was in a car accident. I mean, it doesn't matter how they die, you still win.
God.
Well, I think you have a better chance with Ozzy Osbourne because cleaning up his act that much might be such a shock to his system, he may just keel over one day.
Yeah, it would be like Keith Richards going a day without drugs or alcohol, and you're thinking, or a cigarette for that matter. That's really, I mean, you talk about death-defying, right? Never mind the Melendez, man. I mean, Keith Richards, he's been smoking since he was 6 years old. He's like 97 now, and he looks fine. He's had complete an oil change. I mean, they took all the blood out of this guy's body and put some new blood in. He was basically a corpse there.
That reminds me of some of the times we saw the Paulie man freak out with the look on his face. Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, we lose the visual here with the Polyman, where his face is in his hands, right up until post time, like the theme music is playing, and you have the couple of quips there from a previous show, and you're not sure if the Polyman is alive or if it's Weekend at Bernie's.
Hey, one thing we didn't catch up on with the Hialeah Park handicapping contest. How did our friend Evan don't mention my name do?
You don't want to mention his name right now in that regard.
Oh, okay.
They finished up the track, yeah. So did Jersey Kyle, yeah. I forget. A guy came from like dead last, I think, and won it on the final race. He went all in on some horse that won, and it was very exciting. I mean, the guy really came like Silky Sullivan from the clouds and won that. The name escapes me right now, but nonetheless, it wasn't anybody that I personally know. Let's put it that way. But a great competition, and at Hialeah Park, I know. Did you get down to the boxing yet, Dave Gurgle's girl? I want to say yes to that.
I did not. What's the exact date on it?
It's going to be January 28th. It's going to be a hell of a show. They wouldn't have it any other way. Frank Fiore is, he puts Bob Arum and all of these promoters to shame because he will not accept like lame matches. That's the thing. I mean, Frank likes to, he's very, detailed in all of his thinking. And, he's thinking, hey, we got to entertain people with this boxing, right? So don't put in a bunch of stiffs. It's going to be great. So that's going to be a very exciting show. I hope you can make it out there for that, Dave Gurgles Gurgley, because if you haven't been to, did you ever attend like a match at the Blue Horizon, your days in Philadelphia?
I did not. The closest I got was, I think, the Civic Center in Allentown for Baron Mikkel Cicluna and Alta Bali.
Here's what we're going to do because of the prohibitive nature of the way we're conducting this broadcast here, and we thank the people for indulging us a little bit. We do want to toss out, I don't know, can you throw like 2 blockbusters out there?
People can get in on the chat.
Sure.
If people are watching and want to chime in on the chat, they can answer things on the chat.
All right. Give us like like a couple of 5-pointers, and we'll mull them over in the next few minutes here on the program.
Tell me when.
Go ahead, firing up, Dave Gurgles Gurgley. We're not in the typical fashion here with the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. In fact, we don't even know what fashion we're in. We're up Schitt's Creek,
Well,
no. All right, give us your best one, and we'll offer that up for a prize for somebody who answers either on the chat line or by telephone call.
Well, we were talking about boxing, and one of the great champs we lost was Marvin Hagler. He reigned as the undisputed champion of the middleweight division from 1980 to 87, making 12 successful title defenses. During this time, who was the only fighter credited with a knockdown of Hagler?
Okay, that's a good question. What are the choices?
Do we have choices?
Here we go. A, Bobby Ches. B, William Caveman Lee. C, Mustafa Hamso. Or D, Juan Roldan.
Excellent. I have a ventured guess here, but I'm not going to offer it up here, so we'll leave it out there. Mustafa Hamsho and Juan Roldan. Okay, that's good, Dave Gurgles Gurgley. What's that?
It was Bobby Ches, William Caveman Lee, Mustafa Hamso, and Juan Roldan.
Okay. Let Lubie know the answer, and we'll let you go about your business here, and we'll offer that up to people. They're already weighing in on the chat line here. We'll throw a phone number up that you can give us a call. If you know who is the only person to score a knockdown, the only fighter to score a knockdown against the great Marvin Hagler, who is impossible to knock down because of all the fighters, I think, that have ever competed in the sport. He had the most solid of granite heads. Did you agree? I mean, this guy's head was just pure rock. Evander Holyfield was right up there in that category. If you remember that fight he had with who was the guy that knocked out Lewis, Raheem the Rockman, yeah, whatever his name was, Rockman, yeah,
Hasim Rockman, yeah.
Yeah, remember his face after Holyfield finished with his head, and the guy had like a second head grow. He looked like Barry Bonds coming up to the plate. All right. All right. Good question, Gurgles. Let Lubie know the answer. We're going to offer it up for the people on the telephone lines and on the chat line as well. And Gurgles, we thank you
Okay.
for your participation today. Call that IT guy and get him to turn
Yeah,
those
we'll figure it
speakers
out
off.
next
And
week. We'll do a
we'll
whole
be
thing.
able to go full bore
sure we
next week.
do.
And that'll be a
We'll do
lot of fun. And I think the
got
Polygon
it.
is also going to return. So
Nice.
that's your
Beautiful.
Highly Park Trivia Challenge question. Thank you, Gurgles. Dave Gurgles Gurgley, ladies and gentlemen,
Happy
here
New Year.
on the Defo Show on ION Channel. All right, so Marvin Hagler, 7 years as the undisputed middleweight champion of the world. Of course, who would dispute it, right? The guy was absolutely brilliant. A lot of people would maybe say that you think Sugar Ray Leonard got the benefit of the pencil there in that fight where he supposedly beat Hagler. Hagler quit after that. He said, that's it.
Yeah, it was a joke.
I can't take this anymore. Right? Judge Adelaide Byrd scores the fight. And all of a sudden you hear the mumbling like you're listening to the Pentangeli testimony. Wow. They're waiting for some bizarre score to come up. All right, so in the 7 years, 12 title defenses, who was the only fighter to score a knockdown against Marvelous Marvin Hagler during that span? Was it Bobby Ches, William Caveman Lee, Mustafa Hamsho, or Juan Roldan? And we got our first offer here. Roldan from Andy.
That
Michael
actually
Lubitz.
is correct.
Correct? Wow.
Correct. Andy Man.
Andy gets the prize. All right, good. That makes it very easy because
Another landlubber's gift certificate for Andy. One of
There
these
you
days, I'm
go.
going to put up him and give him his landlubbers.
he's going to be scalping him to Lenny, the Chronic, pretty soon. Juan Roldan was the answer. Scored a knockdown against the great, marvelous
winner
Marvin Hagler during his reign as the middleweight champion of the world. All right, I'm Jeff Deforrest. He is Mike Lubitz. It's the Defo Show, Highly Apart Trivia Challenge. We'll have some more for you. I might toss out a trivia question later on in the program. The Greek is going to join us later on, our good friend, the Greek. Had a nice conversation about a lot of things with the Greek, who could soon be joining us here with more. Just a whole nother line of programming. So very excited about that. Don't know that we can reveal anything yet because we don't know what we're doing, frankly, but it's going to be good. I can assure you.
Great. We always figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, the guy in Night Moves, right? It's going to be good. I can assure you. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment here. Don't forget about the people at Hialeah Park. We mentioned the boxing. I'm hoping Gurgles goes. I'm hoping you're going to be out there.
Yeah. January 28th. There's no reason not to go. It's going to be a blast.
Man, it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. They always do a great job there. The atmosphere is extraordinary. And then, of course, there's casino action. You can go up and play poker. You can get something great to eat and drink. And I also like, even at the concessions at the boxing, that they're not doing a face rake on the people. You get a couple of drinks and you're expecting to hear double the price because you're used to kind of stadium pricing. And it turns out to be, just a real soft item there. They want you to have a good time. That's what the theme behind Hialeah Park's whole management philosophy is. They want you to be entertained and have a good time and want to come back. And you're going to want to come back time and again. So if you haven't been down to Hialeah Park yet and you want to check out, you're a boxing fan, like a lot of our viewers and listeners are, check this card out. It's going to be great. January 28th. A lot of Latin blood in there. I mean, Cuban fighters that, well-skilled, as we know. All Cuban fighters come with all the fundamental tools. And then can they translate that into the pros, into greatness? We've seen a couple of them do it. And we've seen a lot of very good fighters. So we're going to separate the pretenders from the contenders there.
Yes.
On January 28th at Hialeah Park. Is that a good way of putting it?
It's true. That's what we really believed in Yuri Foreman. And then we didn't.
I didn't think he was going to beat Lara that night. What are you kidding me?
I thought it'd be a fight, though. I thought he was
They would
ready.
have turned over all the slot machines in the casino. Did you see the Jewish contingent that was there? There were like a couple of rabbis, literally, like Orthodox Jews, sitting near ringside. And they were like, 3,500 Latin fans, Cuban fans, all there to worship one of the gods of Cuban boxing. And, a legitimate world champion, talking about Arislan de Lara, who was featured on the card. King Kong Ortiz, man, he just fought.
Yep.
And you've seen a lot of good stuff there at Hialeah Park. So we're coming back with more on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. I think I'm going to dig something up of a trivial nature. You always do that, Defo. Exactly. And we'll continue to have some fun here on a Defo Show on ION Channel in a moment. Now that. It's 7:48. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time? When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not, because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Hey, it's Mike Mayo for Even Keel Fish Shack, corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard at Lauderdale by the Sea. It's my favorite place now for great seafood in a casual beachfront setting. They've got
Lubie, you still got me?
Monday through Friday. They've got great dishes like grilled oysters and oysters on the half shell, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, octopus. They also have burgers and chicken for those who don't like the seafood. They're open 7 days a week for a lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack. Go say hi to Dave and Brad and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. You know, people don't like being lied to. That's always the thing. With Pete Rose, if he had just said, of course I bet the Reds. What are you talking about? I had money on every game. We know you did, Pete. It's all right. I mean, now it'd be accepted. In fact, they would have, it's only a matter of time before the manager of the two teams is asked who he likes in the game. All right, we're going down on the field there. We got Tony La Russa. Tony, what do you think tonight? White Sox minus 135? Well, you know, we're going to go to the pen right away, and I'm going to make like 7 righty-lefty switches at inappropriate times, and I'm going to wear out my bullpen. In fact, all of these guys worked in the game last night, so I would think this. I would take the points, take the runs, and take the price on the Boston Red Sox tonight to beat us. I would not lay 135 to win 100 on the Chicago White Sox. Okay, thanks, Tony. Let's go to Alex Cora. Cora, what do you got? Well, you know, we got all our heavy hitters at the beginning of the lineup tonight, and they really pound this White Sox pitcher the last time he was out there. So I would think that we're a good bet, money line, straight up. When's that going to happen? I mean, that's going to be part of the pregame shows now.
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Good to be with you here. The Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Dave Gurgly tossed out a real brain buster there. Probably would have been a finals question. The only guy to score a knockdown during the 12 straight successful title defenses of his middleweight championship by the great, marvelous Marvin Hagler was Juan Roldan. And we congratulate Andy, who jumped right on that thing, Lubie. Didn't need choices or anything. He already had written down Roldan. Who was one of those, hands of stone type of sledgehammer hitters, but wasn't, I don't know that he was necessarily brilliant. So anyway, Lubie, that was congratulations in order for Andy, and you're going to get that gift certificate out to him. All right.
Yes.
I think this is relatively easy because it could only be one of a handful of guys, maybe less than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were like Mordecai Three Finger Brown, they would be that kind of a handful here. All right. I do want to mention, and I'm getting this strictly from This Date in Sports, which is one of my favorite trivial things to read.
Yep.
When I'm on the throne. I don't mean to give you any grotesque, ugly imagery of a fat old Jew on the pot in the morning going, was that guacamole I had last night? Oh, man. No wonder that looks green. On this day in sports history, the great Dan Marino passed for a record 423 yards and 4 touchdowns to lead the Miami Dolphins. This is 1985. Miami Dolphins to a 45-28 victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC Championship game. How about that?
Nice.
Lubie Lewis. That's
There you
significant.
Yes.
And that was their last great moment of glory.
They haven't been back since.
These brave young men, here to play a child's game, began playing like children for the next century and a half. Okay.
Exactly.
Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration on the time, but nonetheless, you guys get the point. All right. So on this date, in 1981. Now, you'll have to appreciate people. The print here is very, very fine. So, if I'm kind of working my way through it with a lot of desperate pauses, it should be understandable. But anyway, on this date in 1981, John Tonelli tied a New York Islanders record with 5 goals in what turned out to be a 6-3 victory against Toronto. That's at the Nassau Coliseum. All right. So, the era of hockey. And the question would be, what player assisted not only on Tonelli's 5 goals, but also on the other goal that was scored by the Islanders by a different player? So, what player assisted on all 6 goals? How about that?
Okay.
Is that a fair one to throw out there, Lubie?
Impressive. All right.
Great era of Islander hockey. If anybody knows that, you deserve a gift certificate.
Yes, sir.
To Landlubbers, which Lubie's been giving away in very generous supplies.
Yeah, we have
late here on the program.
Man's been doing a great job of getting us them to give to you guys. So we'd love to get you out to Landlubbers.
And it's all part of the spirit of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. So what player assisted on all 6 goals in a 6-3 Islander victory? 5 of the goals scored by John Tonelli. What player assisted on all 6 goals in that game? And that happened on this date in 1981. It was interesting, and I love my New York Post sports section. On the news side of things, though, they're the polar opposite of everything that I believe in.
That's what's so funny.
I'm a flaming liberal Jew from Brooklyn, and they are very right wing. I don't want to say fascist or whatever, but you make your own judgments, which is fine. I mean, we don't want to get into any kind. We cannot afford to divide the audience that we are trying to build up here with a bunch of political pronouncements saying, you know what, you don't know what you're talking about. You're an asshole.
Now we're Jordan. We're like Michael Jordan in the 80s. Republicans, Democrats, you all buy shoes. We love you all.
Can we all get along? Yeah, exactly.
We need you all.
That being said, so this is kind of a right-wing publication. I mean, we know that Rupert Murdoch, Mayo's Theory, the Gambling Gourmet, of course, he would know something about the journalism business, having been in it for a long, long time with the Sun Sentinel. And prior to that, some schmenky paper in like Spartanburg that was sending him to the Masters.
That's funny. Yeah.
Pretty good gig. But, he says that Rupert Murdoch loses $20 million a year publishing the New York Post.
He doesn't care.
But he does it just so he has this right-wing voice in New York. Right?
Yes, 100%.
Which is considered, pretty much. I mean, New York is always voting very liberal territories, right?
Yes.
You're not going to see a Marco Rubio becoming a senator in New York.
Outside of California, it's the most liberal state by most estimations. I mean, maybe like an Oregon in this day and age, maybe a little bit more, but.
So is it worth it? It's almost like putting leaflets from, and dropping them from a plane. Who are the Rescue Brothers? They used to do that, right? They would drop the leaflets from like a plane. You're looking up in the sky there, and all of a sudden, here come these leaflets. That's an old tactic, right?
That's a stupid tactic.
But it's the street version of dropping leaflets from a plane, the New York Post. Now, what else happened a year ago on January 6th that everybody's talking about? Like, it's the number one story in the news today on all newscasts. And that would be this atrocity that took place at the Capitol building last year.
Yes.
Right? Now, some people would deny that anything happened there, right?
I mean, we saw it. It happened. I don't care. You can say blame whoever you want, but it happened.
Woman? What woman?
I mean, it happened. I don't care who you blame, but it happened.
Can't answer that question ever. Who's she?
There's a video.
What woman? The video. And the one guy characterized it. I mean, that was especially comical, right? It's one thing to just deny it altogether. But then if you're going to say, yeah, something happened there, but it looked like an average tourist day at the Capitol building.
No.
I would hardly be inclined to sign up my third grade class for a tour if I was a teacher in D.C. or surrounding areas. But anyway, no mention of it. I don't think. I don't think the Post. You have to go past like page 6. I'm going to have to take a look just to make it an accurate assessment here. But no mention of this in the New York Post.
Oh, really?
Never happened.
Not at all. Oh, God. Okay.
I'm going to see how many pages deep it goes into the news before you get to anything about that.
They won't.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's weird, right? I mean, you would have to say that that's a little unusual. If you were publishing a newspaper in America today, that there would be like no mention of that on the front page. All right, we're coming back with more. Enough about politics, Lubie. It's the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge.
Yes.
So the question is out there. We've had an answer, and again, Andy trying to sweep both games of the doubleheader here, like he was the Philadelphia Phillies after the Jim Bunning perfect game. They come back and they beat the Mets 8-5 behind Rick Wise, who started that second game. One of my favorite trivia questions because I was there, so I remember it. Were you really there, Defo? Yeah, I was among the 300,000 people that said, oh, yeah, I saw that Father's Day. My dad took me. It was a very touching moment when Bunning came off the mound there. There was little to applaud for if you were a Met fan at that time, right? And this was, 1964, the original opening of Shea Stadium. And, I mean, you had to, after about the third inning, you're just absolutely on your feet screaming for Bunning to keep it going. Keep it going, Jim!
Yeah, exactly. It's history.
At 13, right? Just barely out of my bar mitzvah. I think that might have been my bar mitzvah present, was a ticket for that game. All right, we're coming back with more in just a moment. The question is, what Islander player assisted on all 6 goals in a game where John Tonelli tied an Islander record with 5 goals in a game? And this is 1981, January 6th at the Nassau Coliseum, which also fell under the category. I don't know. I guess it's out of business now permanently, right? Because the team is moving to its new digs by Belmont Park.
Yep.
They've already moved in there. So is that it? The Nassau Coliseum is now defunct? Or
Yeah, it's done. Yeah, it's done.
As a sporting venue, but all together?
I think so. They were talking about it like in those last couple of games, like it's the end. They were like teary-eyed.
This is the
swan
end.
song,
Oh, yeah. My special friend. They probably brought back a lot of those Islanders. It was not Dennis Potvin, though. That would have been unusual, right, for a defenseman to have 6 assists in a game.
I mean, he was a great dual-end defenseman. Yeah, exactly. Like 6 assists is a lot.
All right. Well, Denny Potvin is the first, answer that we have ventured here on the chat line, which you can easily log into. Or do we want to take a call on this, Mike Lubitz, possibly?
Definitely.
All right. What would be the phone number to give out here? I know it's a 954 thing.
954-417-0070. It's right up there on the screen for you guys.
Oh, okay. I can't see that part. It's covered up here on my monitor. But anyway, all right. So give us a call there at that number and let us know who assisted on all 6 goals in that game in 1981. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He is Mike Lubitz, Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Plans are being formulated as we speak with the great Tommy Fox and, of course, John Kajemi. All on board with the trip down to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. That is going to be a heck of a lot of fun as we expand our horizons, hit the road, and just have a good time. Literally chilling with Jimmy and the whole crew down there. Dominic Kajemi does a great job, runs the kitchen, does just about everything, and then gets up and sings like he was Bono up there in front of the
Really does.
On the stage with Larry Calvano, the owner of the place. It's just a great vibe. It's what you're looking for if you're planning a trip to the Keys. I don't care where you're coming from. If you're coming to Florida, All right, you zip into the car there after you get to the airport, and you go straight to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Now you can inquire about booking accommodations, and they are spectacular. This is not your standard Keys fare when it comes. Now, there are a lot of nice hotels there, Lubie. I stayed in some decent places, and then there are the ones that look nothing like the brochure, which I'm inclined to book because I'm always on the cheap when it comes to hotel rooms. But wow, these accommodations are great. Log on to jimmyjohnsonsbigchill.com and take a look at what they have available there. Not always available, so you want to make plans in advance if you want to stay at the resort there. And the grounds are spectacular right there on the Bayside. The food is absolutely dynamite. So whether you're schlepping all the way down to Key West or you're on your way back from some fishing trip, whatever it is that you were doing down there, having a good time, getting some sunshine in the Florida Keys, make sure one of your destinations is Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104 in Key Largo. Dynamite food and drink and a great, great atmosphere and just a great place to relax. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill in Key Largo. All right, we're coming back with more. The Greek's going to join us. Looking forward to that. Had a great conversation, a lot of laughs with the Greek last night.
Oh, wow.
And he is intent. He brought a different element when it came to degenerate gambling to the table. He had all his guys, and none of them had last names. It was great. It was Teddy Covers. It was Johnny Feathers. And so we came up. We have a name for the show if it transpires, right? Which would be the Greek. Who better than to sit in a host chair on a show called License to Steal?
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly.
All right, you bring your handicappers on, and next thing you know, we're all over the place. Let's go back out to Las Vegas in the Strip there. We got Teddy Covers. Teddy, what do you got? Well, I've hit 16 straight games, and so I'm going to go with the same logic.
Why not?
It'll be great. All right, we'll come back with more, and also take answers. I see some people are calling you, Lubie, so who assisted on those 6 goals? That's our challenge question here on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, a little hybrid version of what we do with the show under normal circumstances. Coming back with more in a moment on Ion Channel. Jack Namer's fine organization, really getting behind this whole thing, man. We appreciate that. Amy, always with good suggestions, right? Amy comes up with some good stuff. And Brad, of course, I had to inquire about a technical issue yesterday. Turned out I had muted my own system.
Always some simple stuff, but I appreciate
But
it.
you can wave a wand over certain computers, and they're so sensitive that all of a sudden the one catastrophic thing that you can't have happen actually occurs. And then what's the way out if you're technically challenged? Brad, hello? He actually guided me through it. I mean, it turned out to be like a simple thing. I think he didn't want to make me feel bad, so he acted like it was a little more complicated than it was, which was click one button.
We have to figure it out. We have to pay attention to those things. So just take mental note.
All right, yeah. I think I understand how to fix it now if it happens again. We'll come back with more. Who assisted on those 6 goals? And you go into a Landlubber's gift certificate here on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubie. Lubitz, the Defo Show on Ion Channel continues in a moment. Now that.
The time.
I was going to say ham show for some reason. That was a guy with the knockdown over Marvin Hagler. Juan Roldan. It's 8:07 on the East Coast.
Hey there, it's Mike Mayo. Do you like steaks? Do you like seafood? Do you like classic old Florida charm? You could get that all and more at Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of 95. The Studiali family, they've been running the place a long time. It's been there more than 70 years. And it is now a place you can get early bird specials along with steaks to take home and throw on the grill yourself at the Butcher Shop. That's open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. It's open for dinner every night starting at 4:30, but they are closed on Sundays. Go to Tropical Acres. It's a place to go for a great meal, great people, good value. Tropical Acres.
The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup, All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Since day one of Old School, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat. 24/7 Catholic Health Services.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the number one Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. Don't gamble in anger.
She hit the daily.
Very calm. Think it through. If you need a little help, don't gamble in anger.
I get a panicked phone call, and he says, "Do you have any extra cash?" I go, "Yeah, I brought money with me to Atlantic City." He goes, "Well, I can't get any more out of the card because the Mustang went wild and emptied the daily allotment of cash."
Double nickels, man. She went for a nickel on her card and a nickel on mine.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
Just taking a quick look at the NFL lines here and trying to regroup and find that page here in my New York Post. Now, these lines, it's yesterday's news tomorrow on the lines in the Bulldog edition, which is what you're getting here in South Florida of the New York Post. I don't know what time they go to print with this edition. Is it like 3 o'clock in the afternoon the previous day, Lubie? Because, the lines could be a little bit off. Not as far off as my friend Francesco, whose bets I've been booking all year long to the tune of like minus... What is it, like about 24 units? How's this guy 24 games over 500, Lubie?
I don't get it. Well, you let him get the best lines. He picks the lines. And you don't even know where he gets them from.
Yeah, I mean, they're always modified. It's a modified Stableford scoring system, I think. It's using to make the lines. Remember that craziness, when they had that tournament in Colorado where, you would see, McElroy pull out a 3-wood and hit the ball 625 yards over a canyon. Looks like he's going to clear the canyon there like he was Nick Wallenda. Unbelievable. That's a second Wallenda reference in the same show, Libby. You think I'm stuck on like one impression here? I didn't even see that thing, what was his latest that he was like walking across 2 buildings in New York City, which would be much more dangerous if you were on the ground, if you look at what's going on in New York City, would it not? Would you rather be on a tightrope crossing, say, Madison Avenue? Of course. No matter how treacherous, no matter how windy. That's still is one of my, visions that I will never be able to erase when Osteen was making out with Nick Wallenda's wife while he was saying, "Pray for me, Joel." And he's sitting on the side of the canyon there going, "I don't think you're going to make it back, Nick. The Lord has chosen a path for you, and it's not necessarily a favorable one right now in terms of crossing the canyon." My God. All right, so how do you rate these NFL games? We're going to get into a Degenerate Friday program tomorrow. Jersey Kyle, all hyped up to join us on the program. And, of course, Mark Lawrence will be all in. And Mark Lawrence has been brilliant this season here. But you don't know. I mean, half the guys, at least it's been announced in advance, guys that aren't playing, including now Joe Burrow. Because Cincinnati, I assume, has clinched a playoff spot, right? They're not sitting Burrow if they need the game. And they're sitting their quarterback, and we already know they're taking on the Browns, right? In what would be like an arch rivalry ball game that, you would think would be just extremely intense, right? Cincinnati on the ascent. The Browns were supposed to be that team. Cincinnati's been a doormat. I mean, how many years did they get knocked down in the first round of the playoffs with Marvin Lewis at the helm? Man, that was insane. Did he never win a playoff game, Marvin Lewis? When he was a coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, he was a coach there forever. Likable guy, seemed like he did a lot of the right things. Won a lot of ball games.
Yes, they went to playoffs.
Couldn't win the big one. Couldn't win the big one or the little one.
I don't think they ever won a playoff game when he was there. Like I don't. They had bad luck.
Eventually, that statistic and or that circumstance catches up with any coach, right? Doesn't matter. I mean, if Lombardi had never won a playoff game, you think they would have given him all that time in Green Bay?
No. I mean, he won a lot.
I would doubt it. No matter how brilliant he was at assembling teams and knowing what to do with them, right? Simple plays, huh? Fullback out there, Jim Taylor, blocking for Paul Hornung, who, was twinkle toes out there. He was fantastic. Paul Hornung, for a big guy, too, that wasn't afraid to take on a little challenge and level the guy, speaking about sports trivia, and was a tremendous guy to hang with at Gulfstream Park. And Hialeah. He loved Hialeah, man. Absolutely great. I remember running into him several times at various bars. And if you imagine this assemblage, you got Paul Hornung, who is a real character. I don't know. Are you familiar with Hornung at all?
Yes.
And his story, the Golden Boy, Notre Dame.
Yes.
I mean, Green Bay Packers.
Big in gambling as well.
Busted for a year for like betting on football. Like, imagine this now. Goodell is betting on football.
Yeah.
How far have we come? It's a progressive universe, people. It's good to report. Where Goodell himself is seen like at the Meadowlands, just plunging.
He's screaming about that.
Half in the bag, right? He's right. I think the Chiefs are good today. Give me 4,000, 4 times on the Chiefs, okay? And people are whispering, right? Is that the commissioner? I think so.
They're like, I think that's Raj.
This is what the world has come to. It's finally come around to our way of thinking. But how do you make any judgments about what's going to be happening this weekend in professional football? How can you possibly assess what's going to go on when, there are some teams, obviously, that are going to be life and death, but we do hope that scenario occurs where Jacksonville somehow miraculously beats Indianapolis. Here's why I believe it has a shot, because when Tony was on with us yesterday, he denounced this as being implausible, impossible, unfathomable. Anything with an able at it, that means it can't possibly happen. And what happens in those circumstances? Ultimately, especially in sports, look at that. They did it, huh? The Heat with 6 guys when they beat the Chicago Bulls that night?
Yes.
Rex Chapman was chucking threes. I think he was 9 for 10 from the 3-point stripe. Phenomenal ball game. And who would have put the Heat on the money line there? Only Martinez. Moneyline Martinez might have had the guts to do that.
Oh, jeez.
Mike Lubitz. So the impossible often happens.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, your kneel down thing is ridiculous. I don't see that happening. But if the Jets beat the Colts and by 4 o'clock, and that's the night game, I could see them playing a very conservative game back and forth, and then magically it ending near a time.
Well,
I mean, if they
in all likelihood, the opposite approach would be in play, where by winning, you're in the postseason. You don't have to worry about in a tie ball game. There's always a possibility something unfortunate happens, unless you had the prearranged deal where you were going to go ahead and take a knee on every play, which. If that happens,
I can't see that.
How brilliant do we look? No, I mean, that wasn't an original idea of mine. I read that somewhere, that this was a possibility. I don't want to take credit for a brilliant idea that wasn't an original of mine here. This isn't like Adam Schefter confirming that story that was reported widely on various news sources is actually true. And ESPN puts a thing up there. What is their obsession with that, by the way? You don't think we can kind of see through that? Come on, ESPN. We're not stupid. Speaking of which, there was some media stuff. We were talking about the A-Rod thing. I mean, how lacking in personality is A-Rod in reality? I mean, you're wondering after seeing him as a color analyst on TV, how did he charm all of these chicks?
He's pretty, and he makes a lot of money.
He swing big stick.
Yeah, I don't think it's his charisma.
He must have, Hillerick and Bradley, right there. I mean, some piece of wood, this guy. Unbelievable.
He's like Wilt.
Oh my! Yeah, I mean the women go Dick Enberg when they see this cat. I don't know what it is. I don't want to imply that that's it. It's kind of gutter trash talk here. We've reverted to the lowest form of sports
12
conversation, analyzing whether A-Rod has a big stick. No, but what is it? I mean, when you see him as an analyst, he's kind of goofy. I don't know.
He doesn't say anything. It's not even, he just doesn't say anything. He says a lot of words that mean nothing all the time.
Yes, and he's on every network, right? I mean, you tune into professional wrestling. Yeah, here he is. I mean, the Texas Steel Cage match. Let's introduce our color analyst tonight. It's A-Rod. A-Rod, how much juice is actually in that man that's in the ring there that weighs 412 pounds, even though he has a 32-inch waist? Now you're going to a qualified guy, right? Well, exactly. I tell you what, Canseco in his lifetime, the whole Canseco clan didn't do this much in the way of steroids. In fact, Victor Conti can't even conceive of the amount of juice that was in this guy's system. Professional wrestling, never questioned, though, right? I mean, and warmly embraced by many, which, look, my favorite sport growing up as a kid. And, we weren't necessarily fooled by some of the things that went on. But, I mean, do you really believe that Bruno Sammartino's plane was late for that match at the Garden? It's like thinking that scenes in The Bachelor aren't scripted, which they really went over the top this time. Kajemi should get that job, by the way. He should be like a co-host or the host of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
If Jesse Palmer could get the gig.
Why not?
Not bad. And another guy in the 2020s that left what was just an absolute, I mean, you couldn't get a better gig, could you, than Chris Harrison had? Guy came from TVG, the horse racing network, becomes the host of The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, makes millions of dollars a year. And, political correctness, right? They, wiped this guy, just vanquished him from the planet now. You have no idea.
Where has he been? He's not doing anything.
Nothing. What does he need to do? I mean, they had to pay him $30 million to keep quiet about what really went on the show, a reality show, my friends. So it shows you reality isn't necessarily everything that it's cranked up to be. All right, we're going to have our Degenerate Friday the show tomorrow. I mean, do you like anything on the board here, Mike Lubitz? I know you probably haven't taken such a detailed look at it.
Line-wise, you just said it. I don't know how to, between not only COVID, which has been the kind of thing we don't really know what's going to rear its ugly head, what games like of importance? I get in the AFC, there's a lot of teams that have chances to make the
7
playoffs.
Teams vying for 2 spots. That's pretty exciting. I mean, look, you want to create some kind of a pennant race and run for whatever championship it is that you're offering as a league. Could it get more exciting than in Week 18 if you were conjuring up like the ideal scenario for the National Football League, that any one of 7 teams could get the 2 spots that are left in the AFC postseason? I mean, all of those cities are engaged in these games, and they're all going off at the same time in the AFC. So very, very exciting stuff for a final week. And yet you do have some duds there, which you're not buying it, huh? You're with Segredo? No chance in hell, huh?
I don't see the kneel out scenario. No, I don't see 4 hours of kneeling. But look, you have the 1 seed. I think is still up for grabs. I don't know if the Chiefs have clinched the 1 seed, so they probably have to win.
Yeah,
they actually do care. Then you have, I think the Steelers are still alive, and because if they win, they're 9-7-1, and these other teams have a worse record than them. So I don't know. I get it. There's still some importance here, but I don't know. Like again, the teams that are vying for it, I just don't know what the hell to do with them. I guess I could see the Chargers beating the Raiders. That would be the one thing outside of your kneeling.
Well, I mean, figure this though. That's all contingent on Jacksonville, a team that just got trounced 50-3 by the Patriots and a rookie quarterback. Jacksonville, a team that checked out before Urban Meyer was canned, and if you thought that they were going to kind of resurrect any kind of enthusiasm for the game when the coaching change was made because of the oppressive nature, supposedly, at least that's how it was depicted, of Urban Meyer's insanity and short run as an NFL head coach. And, you thought it might get a little better. It's only gotten worse. I mean, these last couple of games are atrocities committed by the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've checked out on the season, if you can use that cliche. The chances of them beating Indianapolis on the road as 15.5-point underdogs, when Indianapolis is one of those teams, I believe, desperate to win this ballgame.
I think if they win, they're in, I think. But that's my problem is it's a 15.5 point spread. So like,
What
whatever the
level
Jets
of
are,
yeah, I don't know about the point spread. I don't know that I was necessarily touch that, but you
That's
would have
right.
to think Indianapolis just annihilates the
yeah,
Jacksonville
yeah,
Jaguars in this
sure.
game and comes right out razor sharp and puts them away immediately and never gives them a chance to get back into it. But I know stranger things have happened. So wow, if the two scenarios work out, two completely polarized and yet impossible situations. The Colts losing straight up to the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that is in such disarray that they have to come up with like new terminology. Disarray doesn't even begin to describe where the Jackson. I mean, disaster,
Yeah, they're a disaster. Yeah,
disaster.
yeah.
They make a move. They give this guy like $100 million, Urban Meyer, to coach. What did he last? Like 11 games, something like
The
that.
whole year. It was insane.
And bury the franchise in the process. I don't know. I mean, is the personnel lineup there in Jacksonville that weak that they should be that bad? I mean, they were bad the year before to get the number one pick. So and really, I mean, since Mark Brunell was there, right, have they been any good?
They had the 1 year where they
Tony Baselli.
were competing with the Patriots in the AFC Championship game.
Oh yeah,
just short. And then like instantly they went back to sucking. It was the weirdest thing.
Was it not the game where the professor took an absolute beating?
We all were very high on the Jags. They were leading in that. I mean, a lot of that game. They had you had Fournette and you had Ramsey, and they had a really good defense, and it felt like they may win with a Blake Bortles. And then because of Bortles, they were super conservative, and the Patriots came back, and the Patriots won.
That always backfires, doesn't it? Blows up in your face like an exploding Perdomo cigar. It does. Well, when you put the lid on things, you have to stay after it. If you're playing in any kind of game, don't you believe that? Hey, listen, don't just back off. Stay after it a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, right? I mean, especially tennis, I can turn on literally one bounce of the ball, which it did on Novak Djokovic. What did you think about all of that hullabaloo yesterday? That was a great story.
Oh, my God. Look, unless
detained at the airport like some guy that came in with a pipe bomb in his carry-on luggage.
Because he's lying about being vaccinated. Like, he won't say whether he is or isn't vaccinated, and obviously his
You would have to assume that he's not, because why would you not want to say that you were?
If you are, you'd automatically say it. He had, I guess, he did I don't know if it was Antonio Brown or whoever, but he had a vaccination card, and they're looking at it like, what the hell?
Oh, yeah?
Or something.
Joker tried to pass off a phony ID?
Wasn't that the problem? He had some card that they looked at, and they were like, this isn't right.
Well, no, he had received a medical exemption, which the
exemption.
Tennis Association there in Australia was saying, well, very stringent. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Right? I mean, we don't want this thing to boomerang back in our face, by allowing this guy to play and infecting everybody, which, I guess you could test the guy every day and see if he had it, just put him under some kind of strict order there. But if you're going to require everybody else in a tournament to be fully vaccinated and be able to prove it, then you can't make an exception for Novak Djokovic, who is one of the healthiest guys that you could imagine walking the face of the earth right now. Plus, he had COVID-19 already, didn't he? And survived it.
So. Yep.
But and all the more reason that, maybe that's the reason that he gave, because he had to get a medical exception. But I wanted to read you a paragraph here, if I can, if you guys will indulge me, because you have to imagine that this guy that was writing about the situation, and I'm assuming that he's a columnist, and this article was carried in the Post, is not a big fan of Novak Djokovic. Because the way that he characterized this, this was like a printed thing of beauty here, Lubie, if I can find it here at the bottom of the story. Here's and this is from a guy named Johnny Oleksinski, who's covering the Australian Open, and it doesn't say that it's a special. So anyway, Johnny Oleksinski wrote this of Novak Djokovic. In conclusion, after saying what a rat this guy is, and how it comes as no surprise that the petulant, spoiled child that Djokovic is. And I don't know. I mean, have you seen any changes in the Joker? It seems like he's okay. I mean, I kind of find myself rooting for him, even though, I like to see guys defeat him because he's so great.
Yeah.
And I guess I have a little bit of that thing in me that you don't want to see Nadal and Federer get surpassed, but it's obviously going to happen because those guys are out and he's still in.
Yeah, he's like early 30s.
Yeah. Okay, and he says here, the real Djokovic is a pathetic man who complains and attempts to manipulate politicians to
Wow.
bend to his selfish whims in order to satisfy his insatiable ego. Pet his insatiable ego.
Okay.
Well done, Australian government, for having the guts to say no to Novak. Not a big fan there. But the whole gist of the article was that this guy's been a joke his whole life, like joke as in Joke, and that it's all a bunch of BS. This whole new Djokovic that supposedly cares about people and anything else but himself. But yeah, the government stops him at the airport. This is how the story goes. Stops him at the airport, detains him for like 5 to 8 hours. Right, sitting in a little room like a goofball. Right, like you just came off the plane with something that smelled a little funny. What exactly is in that cologne? And, it's some kind of liquid nitrogen or something. Where you're going to spritz a little on yourself in the bathroom there, Mohammed? I mean, come on. You don't want that. Speaking of Moata. But, yeah, I mean, so he is getting deported out of the country. They don't want him because he doesn't have the vaccine. They're very strict about that. The government is superseding and overriding an exemption that was somehow liberally given to Novak Djokovic to enter the Australian Open. So I didn't realize this. He has won the last 3 Australian Opens.
Jeez.
And on a hard court there, you're thinking he's a near cinch to go ahead and do it again since he plays so well in that atmosphere. And how fit must he be? Because it's like 120 sometimes for those matches, 120 degrees.
Yep.
At that time of the year in Australia. So anyway, we're coming back. The Greek's going to join us. I think you'll really enjoy that here on the Defo Show. It's the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Did we get any more entries, Lubie?
No.
On a trivia question?
No one even knew, I guess, what the hell you were talking about. No one even
Simple question here, bro. Who assisted on all 6 goals in a 6-3 Islander victory on January 6, 1981 at the Nassau Coliseum? Many of you will say that you were there that night once you get the answer. And a guy named John Tonelli, who, is a familiar name in Islander lore. Tonelli was one of the popular players there. And he had 5 goals in that game to tie an Islander record. Maybe the better question would have been, whose record did he tie?
There you go.
Because I can't imagine how many Islanders had more than 5 goals in one game. 5 goals, is pretty uncommon, would you say? In NHL history, how many people had 5-goal games? What would you say the number was? Less than 20?
Yeah, I wouldn't think a ton.
I mean, even going back to old school when like the same 6 guys were on the ice the entire
time. Howe and Gretzky. I mean, I wouldn't go too many. Oh.
And he says he's going with Ken Rosewall with the Joker out of the tournament. Ken Rosewall going to come back and recapture.
Ken Rosewall played
his form of 60 years ago. The Rocket. 2-1 to win it, Rod Laver. All right, we're coming back with the Greek. Get a hold of the Greek here. We'll pop him on the show here. You'll enjoy this guy. I had a good time with him last night on the Defo Show, the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. We got the trivia question out there, courtesy of Hialeah Park, and it's for a Landlubbers gift certificate that we always give away in conjunction with the program here on ION Channel. Just Google the Defo Show. Always having a lot of fun. Tomorrow, a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, brought to you by Gulfstream Park, and that's going to be a blast with Jersey Kyle, I believe, joining me on this new set, which, that's going to be an experiment. We'll see if that works out. We have most of our guys aren't capable of putting the touches together to be on the computer screen there. We have a few guys that are reliable, including the Gambling Gourmet, who will also be with us tomorrow. All right, back with the Greek in a moment here on the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, returning in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:32.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time? When the bill comes, you won't get your shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not, because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
Hey, it's Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet here for my friends over at Shenanigans Sports Pub. It's a great place to go to take in a game, a good meal, and a couple of drinks. My friend Patrick, he's been doing it a long time, and he's got 2 locations. West Side is right across from TY Park in Hollywood. And then the East Side location is at 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Shenanigans is the place for wings, burgers, barbecue, fresh fish, anything you want, drink specials, late night dining, outdoor dining. It is the place to go, family friendly. Go to Shenanigans and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
I love everybody who gets caught. Every time they always say I had a problem. The coach of the Dolphins, I have a problem. This guy, I got a problem. How come nobody has a problem when they don't get caught?
No.
I've always said, have you ever seen anybody in Gamblers Anonymous walk in and go, whew, crushed it this week, 9 out of 10.
Welcome back to the Defo Show.
All right, so I pull up to this place last night in Boca Raton, Florida, and I'm looking to meet one of the greats and a guy that was a very enjoyable character on many of our radio shows. That's how we met. We were put together by, speaking of greats, the great Mike Nyman, who at the time was the marketing director at Gulfstream Park. He said, I guess he said it to both of us, that, hey, Greek, you're really going to like this guy, Defo. And he said to me, Defo, you're going to love this guy, the Greek. So he puts us together, and we had nothing but good times. And so I pull up to this cigar place, and literally the people outside, and it's a kind of high-end cigar joint. It used to be called Prime Cigar, now it's like the Count of Monte Cristo, right out of Transylvania, but looked pretty cool. And I guess it's a club that you have to be a member of. And a lot of the guys, it looked like a bus stop on Sutphin Boulevard in Queens, where these guys were all slumped over. And there, the one spectacular guy with babe after babe rolling by, he's sitting there, he's got the cigar, he's got his Tito's handmade vodka hat on, looks sharp as a tack. And sure enough, that's my date over there, the Greek.
Nice.
And Greek, it was great to see you last night. We had a heck of a lot of fun. Nice to be able to reminisce and talk about possibilities for the future, my friend.
Oh, it was great seeing you. You looked fantastic. You were probably the best looking person I saw there all night.
That ain't saying much. Are they all bookmakers? The guys who are on the inside there?
No, you got some loan sharks.
Yeah.
They cut it around. But no, it was great seeing you. Congratulations to you and Lubie on your new show, new venue, and I'm very excited for you guys. And thanks for having me on. But no, it was great. I didn't even recognize you when you woke up. I mean, you lost so much weight. You look like me after a weekend in Vegas. I mean, you look.
Usually that's just the weight in your pocket. So yeah, that was at one time occupying your wallet. Speaking of Vegas, I mean, I know, and you had taken some kind of sabbatical from gambling, but nonetheless, we're gambling your brains out, at least mentally. And then you got involved in some kind of cockamamie scheme, I guess, to avoid getting into conflict with your probation officer. But somebody else entered your selections in the Westgate contest this year. How did that actually go?
It was in the Circa contest. Somebody sponsored me, my good friend Richie from Atlantis Motor Group. On Fridays, you can get a Ferrari, and they'll give you popcorn with it. And we got involved in it, and I started off good, but November wasn't a great month. I mean, there's 5 selections every week. You got to go 5-0, 4-1 every week to be in contention. I think there's like 4,000 entries. But we'll see what happens. It's fun, like everything else, and picking the games and obviously just kicking back, enjoying it. It's a different, it's different when you don't have cash on it. But when you're watching the games and you see somebody go nuts now, it is unbelievable for me because you're saying to yourself that I was that guy. Half of the thing about gambling is losing and having something to bitch about. I got screwed. I can't believe it. What was that call? Oh my God, God's against me. You don't have that anymore in your life, but it's just an even thing. But that's problematic, and I had to fire my therapist. I said, I don't need you anymore. Now you're out.
We had Brandon Lang on one of our podcasts on the Believe Podcast Network, and if you get a chance, I believe that was a week ago Friday.
Yep.
And he was so upset about the strategies, I believe it was of the Chargers coach in their ball game on a Thursday night game, where everybody thought that this guy just absolutely blew it. I think he, abdicated going for field goals a few times and missed on 4th downs and ended up with no points. And, the announcers were constantly repeating the same cliche, left a lot of points out there on the field, didn't you? And so Lang, I mean, he equated that with getting raped in a gay bar.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he went far with it.
That's an extreme. Yeah, that's like Harbaugh a couple of weeks ago when he kept going for 2.
Yep.
If I had a couple of my friends at the Ravens money line, and both times it lost. I mean, it's just again, you're gambling. Odds are you're going to lose, obviously, in the long run. I remember first meeting you, and you said the last thing you see if you're a gambler is the amount of money you lose, and you die with your mouth open. So it was
it comes up in big numbers. Yeah, that's why all degenerates do die with their mouths wide open, like. Yeah, it's.
I told one of my buddies, gambling is like women. You remember the bad one. When you get a bad loss, you never forget it. You never. And if you're out, like it's different now. Years ago, you didn't see highlights, but if you're out, everybody has the NFL Network on or some show, and the game comes up, and you'll hear I heard a guy the other day. Oh man, I got screwed on that game. I lost 1,800. Same thing with a woman. The one who burns you the most, you never forget. All the wins, you don't really think about it. You're like, I won, okay. But the losses always stay with you. Like when I had Dallas against Pittsburgh, I had Novacek 17-1, scored a first touchdown, and I hit it. I was up 17,000. It's 5 minutes into the game.
That's crazy.
And I lost for the day.
Oh, no. Not even for the day. Oh, my God.
You hit for 17 times right away. You have to assume that you're going to walk out a winner. Yeah.
I was with these 2 girls. I'll never forget, from Connecticut. We were in the Caesars. We're in a big suite. And she goes, you lost for the day. Because I had a whole bunch of tickets, and I gave it to her. And I said, how the hell do you know? There's like 20 tickets, 30 tickets. She goes, it's pretty easy, G. The winning pile's right there. There's only one. She goes, they're all I was on 17. I was thinking that day it was going to be, you said to me last night, a great name for a show, A License to Steal. I'm thinking the first quarter, I went in 50,000 for the day. That's what I'm thinking. I was up 17. I lost for the day. And so you never forget it. You just go. And I'm like, oh, Novacek scores the first touchdown. And I'm like, oh, man.
And you have a dime on that. I mean, that's sick in its own right. 17-1.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I had some margin of victory bets that were just unreal, which that's what I enjoy. Margin of victory when you got to bet and you bet the actual amount that the team's going to win or lose. And if you take an underdog, you could really crush it. They got to win by 8 to 11 or 4-8, whatever it is, and the odds are great when you do stuff like that. I enjoy that stuff because you like the long. I mean, I had Edelman the year he won MVP. He was 33-1, but I could only get a nickel on him. But that's how I ended up getting married. It was 28-3, and my ex came out and said they might come back. I said, if they come back, I'll marry you. Did that cost me?
Like Defo.
Another fatal turnover. That might have been more expensive. I still, to this day, I blame Jockey Early Fires for winning the last race at Hawthorne, because had he not, we didn't realize, and this predated ATM machines being all over the place, we did not realize that we didn't have enough money to pay for the wedding in Las Vegas, which was only going to be $75, but we were down to like 30. My friend Mighty Melendez and me, and so we put it all on this horse who, life and death, wins by a hanging nose hair at the wire, and gave us enough money to get the whole thing going. And years later, it cost me $300,000.
Talk about luck. I mean, talk about luck. I mean, you just say the guy upstairs has a plan. It's not a good plan, but he's got a plan.
Yeah, I mean, that's that whole thing about everything happens for a reason, and it's not necessarily a good one where you and I are concerned.
Yeah, I hate all those cliches. I just do. I hate them. I'm sick of hearing them. I don't like them. I hear people say all the time, "Oh, find something you love." Every TV show, and you'll get the money will come next. It's always somebody who's just getting paid $20 million who says that. It's never a guy who works for FT&L reading meters, making $16 an hour. It's always those guys. Oh, you find something you love, and then the money comes. Get the hell out of here! Where are we reading this?
Greek, where are we finding your material on the radio these days? You say you're like with the Love Doctors or something. What's going on with that?
No. I'm still in Penthouse, 9 to 1 on Real Radio, 92.1.
Nice.
Saturdays, the locker rooms, 18 years, 11 to 3. I do a Greek podcast maybe 2 or 3 times a week on sports and gambling. You can get that on Real Radio. And, stuff like that, planning some different things. And, you took me out last night and, we had a cigar and a drink, and you were like, hey, I want you to come work for me. You're the best. I love you. And then you got up and you stuck me with a Chardonnay.
For him, I don't know the for.
I offered to go to the wallet at least. I mean, I made the token gesture. I think you appreciaed that, and all those babes that were hovering over you while they were paying no attention to anybody else. They appreciated the move also.
No. You never pay with me, brother. You know that. I would rather take you out to dinner 1,000 times than some other people in my life for a half a snack.
Very good. All right. So we'll follow you there. And
the great train robbery was my divorce.
Don't let it get you, kid. I mean, you got to keep throwing punches. That's all you can do. Yeah, don't let it get you. Stick and move. Follow the advice of your trainers. Just stick and move, and you'll be okay. All right, Greek. Pleasure, my friend. Yeah, no, it was interesting too, because I was telling you that we were talking and reminiscing about you're still involved in the radio business there with iHeart. We are now long gone, and I don't know. You're never happy that happened, until you're at the sort of same level again or whatever in terms of cash flow. But nonetheless, I mean, it is working its way in that direction, and there are big pots out there in this game, which is really the fun part and exciting part about it. But I was telling the Greek that my career, kind of ended after like a guy that went 5 2/3 and gave up 4 runs on 7 hits, left 2 guys on base. The only people cheering as you come off the mound are your girlfriend and her parents, and everybody else is throwing shit at you.
You're the best. You're the best. You and Lubie, love you guys.
We love you, sir.
He showed me last night the video. You guys look great. And, I wish you all the luck in the world. God bless you. 2 good people that I really value to my heart. And I mean that sincerely. You weren't co-workers. You guys were friends. And I appreciate it. From day one, I always tell everybody this. When we got together, you guys made me feel like we worked together for 10 years. And after that first show, it felt like 10 years.
You sure about that?
The Greek, ladies and gentlemen. Always a pleasure, my friend. I owe you a Chardonnay.
Love you.
All right.
Keep in touch. Love you. Be good, Louis. Peace.
Yeah.
Peace.
What do you think, man? The Greek license to steal.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, he's a
He,
busy
he
man.
explores
So
his Vegas connections. We get Mark Lawrence going here, and the professor, and some of our guys, Brandon Lang, here on this show, and all of a sudden we're piggybacking stuff, right? I
Yep.
can see, I can
Crossovers,
sense
as they
Jack's
say.
wheels are spinning as we speak with these ideas.
There you
Anyway,
go.
no, always great to catch up with the Greek. We had a good time there last night, and I was used to be Prime Cigar, now it's like the Count of Monte Cristo or something.
It's money.
I'm not a cigar guy. I mean, I appreciate people that like cigars and do this sort of
It's
thing.
Monte
But for
Cristos.
me, it was like walking in the first floor of Aqueduct back in the day, which was the only place for some reason, Lubie. And one of my ex-wives made this observation because she smoked, and I used to smoke. This was back when people would actually smoke in the house. And, for me, it was like torture. If a guy lit up a cigarette in the front row of a movie theater and I was sitting in the back row of the balcony, back in the day when you could smoke indoors, I would be knocked out. I mean, sick to my stomach, nauseous. I mean, it really had tremendous impact on me unless I was at a racetrack for some reason. And then it was like the waft of onions grilling about to be thrown on a cheesesteak somewhere in Philadelphia. And they're like, wow, how come this aroma appeals to me here when I'm walking into a degenerate paradise like Aqueduct? Well, I was more of a dump than that. What a shithole, actually, when you think about it. I mean, that place was a dump. I don't think they've done much in the way of capital improvements over there. Even though, it's weird now when you look at racing statistics, Lubie, because I always used to look at the attendance and handle figure.
Okay.
That was a big thing. I was covering a lot of horse racing here, and naturally had concern for, the way, they were judging how the sport was going and what was happening, and whether or not they were tapping into the fan base that was out there in a proper fashion was to see increases in attendance and handle. And I was always talked about, and was criteria also used to engage in all this legislation, ridiculous legislation for years. Speaking of Hialeah and Gulfstream, I mean, unfortunately, they had to go toe to toe, and it's tough to knock out the Brunettis, as we know, right? Still going strong, maybe stronger than ever, huh? I mean, you can't knock these guys out. So those battles were classic, but a lot of it, as I recall, I don't know if I'm making this up now because I'm old, but I believe that these statistics were a big factor, attendance and handle, which is the amount of money bet in total. Now, this predated simulcasting, so the handles were like $1.3 million, $1.4 million. And now you look, the attendance is always unavailable because they let everybody in the racetracks for free for the most part. So anybody can just walk in there. How do you keep track of how many people are there? And then the handle figure is always like $10 million. Because degenerates in all outlets that can handle this sort of thing, including their telephone, which I don't know, with the sports gambling coming to Florida eventually. Is that happening still, Lubie? What do we know about that?
At some point, there's too much money behind it. I mean, the fact that the Seminoles want it, and then it's not, that's the thing. There's so many casinos and they all want it. Just the Seminoles were sort of shoehorning it. And the way they were doing it.
Well, around DeSantis, man, have you noticed he's put on a few pounds? It's probably from eating all of those rich foods with the bag of cash. That I mean, how do you make a clandestine deal like that on an issue that has been so widely debated and so long anticipated that this was finally going to happen here, that other states are capitalizing on? They're making a fortune on so many different things that are involved in gambling, including the ability to bet sports, which, I mean, what is every league in the universe asking you to do now? I mean, step it up, people, and start betting your brains out.
Honestly,
it's crazy. I'm telling you, Goodell is going to be spotted at some point in time. Roger himself plunging at the windows at the Meadowlands, and then turning around to some reporter who says, "Hey, Raj, are you betting?" And he goes, "Yeah." And why the hell do I have to come all the way across the bridge to do this? Why can't they bring this about in New York?
Exactly.
A disheveled Goodell, his hair looking like Don King. Desperate to make another bet and get out on the Bengals, even though Joe Burrow is going to be in the stands somewhere having a popcorn and a beer. All right. Great being with you here. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. And always a lot of fun. Tomorrow we'll have our Degenerate Friday show, and that's going to be great. I believe we did maybe talk the Greek into trying a little bit of an enterprise with us here on Ion Channel. Also, as you kind of like the concept, Lubie, of offering a different type of degenerate content.
Yes.
In quest of chasing down the big bull elephant, my friends. Right? Which is what? To become a part of the gambling video and audio culture. And who better than us? We've taken every conceivable beat. That
I was gonna say between the Greek and you combined. Oh my God.
The Greek was swinging from a different arena,
He
though,
went
was he
big.
not? I mean, he's betting a dime on like a dumb prop bet. I mean, it's not dumb because it's kind of fun. I mean, sometimes you have a prop bet and it's just an interesting wager. I first really got intrigued by them when they were starting to put up those crossover prop bets on the Kentucky Derby, like the number of lengths that such a horse would win by versus the number of points that the Bulls would beat the Knicks, that kind of thing. Or, who would have more points. You got those Super Bowl props, too, where, who would score more, the Chargers or whatever.
Michael Jordan.
The combined total of, Michael Jordan and, somebody else.
Rob
So,
Gronkowski, whatever.
yeah, I mean, those were fun props. And Jersey Kyle is very adept. I mean, as you might imagine.
Weirdly good.
Moneyline Martinez, as I always tell him, you have a certain serendipity
Really
to
does.
you that, you're never hurt too badly. And when on the road, this guy is just unbelievably lucky.
Yes.
And he has an uncanny knack, though, as once in a while we do in pegging a golf tournament, once in a great while. But we're usually in the mix in those golf tournaments with our guys, are we not, Mike Lubitz?
Yes.
And it's not like we're picking. You pick McIlroy every week, which
No, not McIlroy.
I've proven you is a mistake.
Who's worse actually? What the Fowler? McIlroy actually wins. My problem is I want Fowler to win, and he never wins.
No, he's been for a guy that has a good personality and makes a lot of money on commercials. Ricky Fowler, right? It's Ricky Fowler.
Yes, Ricky Fowler.
He hasn't produced any numbers, right? We've seen Spieth come back into the mix there, and people are telling you to go ahead and plunge on Jordan Spieth in this tournament. The tournaments in Hawaii have a little bit of a. I wish that Mark Lawrence handicapped golf in his database. You think he gives out golf selections, Mark Lawrence? Where does he draw the line?
Yeah,
I can hear the people out there saying, "You're sick, Deforrest. Sick."
I don't think he does golf.
No, betting golf. Golf's a pretty entertaining bet.
Golf's
It
a
is.
great bet, but I don't know if Lawrence does it.
Because you get a lot of value for your money if you're in contention, especially in those pools where you got to pick certain players. So you have multiple entities that you're watching during the course of the tournament, and they all have to do certain things for you to prevail. And if you do, very lucrative because, a lot of people get involved in this sort of thing. But it sure makes watching a tournament far more fascinating. And then just betting them individually, which this Hawaii, thing, you had Spieth, I think, finish at 30 under one year in one of the tournaments in Hawaii. What do they have, 2 tournaments there?
Maybe.
No, and it's so windy. I mean, palm trees are falling down in the background. A cameraman gets hit in the head with a pineapple. It's very adverse conditions, and then mountainous terrain also, overlooking vast bodies of water. The Pacific Ocean is beckoning for every ball. Hello, ball. And you destroy these courses. I don't know. Are they particularly short or something, Lubie? Do you ever watch the opening golf events?
Yeah, they're probably short. These guys kill that.
All right. So, I'm hoping maybe we can talk Mark Lawrence into putting some golf material into his database there, and we can crunch some numbers. But that's largely an instinct, I think, if you're going to start betting golf tournaments. You can watch a couple of trends, right? Chambly's knocking the crap out of the ball. By the way, what happened to Chambly? Where is he at these days? Haven't seen much about him, right? He had the big feud going with the FSU kid.
Oh, no, you mean Chambeau.
Shambo, yeah.
Isn't Chambly the one that...
Chambly's the commentator, yeah. Bryson Shambo, yeah.
Bryson DeChambeau. Sorry, Bryson DeChambeau.
DeChambeau, yeah. What happened to him?
I don't know. Like, you pay attention to golf more than I do. You and my dad are like Mr. Golf.
Yeah, I mean, he was all involved with Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, they had like a war. And then like it's gone
war,
really
man.
Quiet. Like it's gone weirdly quiet.
By the way, I've never seen a guy, any athlete of any kind, leaving the playing field or the arena, or in this case, the course, and snub his girlfriend any more indifferently than Brooks Koepka did. And then she just ignored the snub completely and followed him to wherever it was that he was going to go and have the arduous task of signing his golf card, his scorecard.
We never had that luck when it came to women. I'll tell you that right now. If I did that to Shirley, she'd spit in my
Imagine
face.
it, man. You do that to any woman. If you didn't even know her and you walk by her like that. with like kind of an arrogant snub, like he was the guy, that was dating Rose on the Titanic. The evil guy before
Billy Zane.
DiCaprio got involved and
Zane.
opened her eyes. Yeah,
Yeah,
Kate
Billy
Winslet.
Zane's character.
Yeah. All right. We have to run. I don't know if we accomplished what we intended to today, but we did have a lot of fun. So that's part of the fanfare here on the Defo Show on Ion Channel. Tell your friends about it. Google the Defo Show. Happy to be representing Hialeah Park here on the program tomorrow. A Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, and Jersey Kyle is set to join us here. We'll have Mark Lawrence picking some football games for you. You're saying what? Maybe Brandon Lang? That'd be pretty wild if he could get up that early, though. But it's like 5
I'm going to
o'clock
try and
Vegas
get him
time.
on for our Believe show because we do that a little bit later in the morning. But the professor will join us, talk about the title game of all title games.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that because it's been
Monday.
so long.
Yeah, so we're going to have the
It's
professor.
been a long, long time. Yeah. What are you thinking now? I mean, you going Bama? How do you go against the Devil?
Georgia because I'm an idiot. It's probably going to be.
Oh, you like Georgia? That
I'm
just
talking myself into it.
affirms my position there. That do not. I'm going to give you this final piece of advice here today. Like I'm a philosopher of some sort. All of a sudden, I'm Thomas Hobbes here. But
Sensei Defo, yes.
do not bet against the Devil.
I got you.
He's either undefeated or like 8-1 when an underdog since like 1958.
He was undefeated. That stat was utterly
I think.
insane.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I saw a little graphic there where he had lost 1, was getting 10 and lost by 11. But maybe I'm wrong about that. All right, I'm going to look that up. I'll actually do some research for tomorrow's show. Thanks so much for joining us here on the program. Good shout out to Mike, Crazy Uncle Mike's nice show last night, Memphis Lightning, and met the great Peter Leonard, radio legend Peter Leonard there.
Nice.
So
also, Defo referred to the stuff we're doing on Believe today. Talk about legends and icons. Daryl DMC McDaniels of Run DMC is our guest today on After Hours with Defo and Lubie. So check that out. It should be up by 11 o'clock. So check that out on the Believe Podcast Network.
All right. Sounds good, man. Looking forward to that. And we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. Thanks to Jack and the crew down there, Amy and Brad and all the people at Ion Channel for carrying the program here and promoting it all over the world on various outlets, including the audio stream, which I'm hearing is somewhat popular, Lubie. So maybe picking up a little steam in that category as well. We'll see you tomorrow. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff Deforrest. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time as we leave you know that. And thanks to Hialeah Park, too. It's 9 o'clock on the dot.
Let's go.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.